This video is going to explain how to use digital marketing to acquire new customers for your law firm in 2024. Now, I'm going to bear all about how we're using digital marketing at my agency to generate leads for our clients in the legal sector. Now, you might be wondering why I would do this, and it's because I've noticed that most legal companies aren't actually doing any marketing at all. They rely on a lot of referrals and recommendation, and then they simply sit back and wait for the work to come to them. And you can't reliably scale a business in this way. And another thing they're doing is they're buying leads from online lead generators, which is quite expensive, but you don't need to buy those leads. You can generate them yourself at a much better quality at a fraction of the cost. So I'm going to show you how. I'm going to take you through our process. The executive summary is that we're going to target people at two different stages of a marketing funnel. Now, we're going to get your business in front of people who are physically looking for your services and using the internet to do so, because these people are out there, they're ready to buy, and their business will go somewhere. So it might as well go to you rather than a competitor. So this model here that I'm going to take you through is called the larger market formula. It's quite common in marketing in general. It's been known about for a long time, and this is something that we used to really develop the strategies of our law firm clients. You can see right at the top there, it's got the top 3% of people who are looking for your services. These people, they know that they want legal services, but they haven't had a referral or recommendation. So what they're going to do is they're going to go to search engines, predominantly Google, because Google owns 90% of the search market, and they're going to be going to look for a supplier, and they're going to get in touch. In the law sector, they might speak to one or two firms, but generally speaking, if they get a good service, when that phone rings or when the email inquiry goes off, they're going to go with you. Secondly, we have these 17% of people who are in information gathering mode. So what do people do when they're in information gathering mode? Well, they're going to, again, use Google. They're going to be asking Google questions, and they're going to be getting answers depending on what law firms are putting out there. They're going to be going onto your website. They're going to be seeing what your services are, how long it takes, how much it costs. And this provides us a key opportunity to get in front of those people and provide them the information they need to be helpful in order to bring them into your sales cycle. What the mistake we see most law firms making is that they exclusively, well, like I said, target the referral and recommendation, but then there's an over focus on that top 20%, the 3% looking to buy and the 17% in information gathering mode, and there is a complete ignoring of the other 80% of the market. There are so many people out there in the ether across the nation that need legal services, but they don't know that they have a case. They don't know that there's any prospect of winning a case. They ideally need to be educated regarding the problem that they have, be given some advice, but again, your law firm, you don't want to be on the phone speaking to thousands of people to try and weed people out. I'm going to explain some systems that we use to qualify leads, to take them through a process so that you can simply scan lists and have an idea of who the successful people are, so you can just call the most relevant and the most qualified individuals. Okay, so how do we reach those top 3% of people? There's two strategies to do this, or the 3% and the 17% that are in information gathering mode. And there's two strategies that we use. They're really simple, and that is search engine optimization, which is the process of ensuring that when somebody searches for an employment lawyer near me, or family lawyer near me, or business solicitor, whatever they're looking for, on page 1 of Google, there will only be certain options. And if you're not on page 1, and preferably as high up on page 1 as possible, even more preferably, you will be in what's called the map pack. So it's the top 3 businesses that are in the map. If you're not there, you're not going to win those clicks. You're not going to win that business. And that business is the most high converting business that you will possibly get, because these people want what it is you do. They're looking for your expertise. So this video isn't going to go into the ins and outs of SEO and how you optimize a website, but what it suffices to say is you need an effective Google business profile. You have to have an effective review strategy, because people need to trust you. And your website, when they are landing, has to be relevant. The big mistake we see a lot of law firms making is they're communicating in lengthy language that essentially the end user isn't identifying with. So on your landing pages, you really need to be stripping it down into what the key problems that you are solving for them, with some simple calls to action and some simple social proof. Here is a landing page that we have been using to generate leads for clients, and this can be replicated as a template and it can work time and time again. Secondly, you need highly relevant pages depending on what the observed search terms are. So the highly relevant landing pages, if you offer multiple services because you offer employment law, family law, you might do stuff around police complaints, you might do business law, etc., etc. You need individual pages for these that specifically speak to the problem of that individual. If you have that and you communicate effectively through your search engine optimization what those pages are to be delivered for, you've got a really niche and bespoke search engine optimization strategy that can pull relevant traffic into your business. Secondly, we have Google advertising. Now, Google advertising can be a bit of a minefield when it comes to this strategy. A lot of people that are in information gathering mode might not necessarily be ready to buy. So generally speaking, for most of our clients, what we do is we niche the Google advertising strategy just into the really hot keywords, that top 3% of people who are looking to buy. We ignore all of that information gathering mode stuff. That information gathering mode, we target people with search engine optimized blogs, content, video assets, that sort of thing that can answer their questions with highly informative information to build trust and confidence. Google Ads, ideally, most businesses, most law businesses don't want to be paying for those clicks to drive people to information. Although if you have the budget, it can be very successful. So the way that you optimize your Google Ads is you run it out there. You're going to need to split test between search ads and performance max ads to really see what's working best. Generally, we find that search campaigns, the old school style of campaigns, are working better for law firms. The reason being is you can have exact match keywords. So when somebody's looking for employment lawyer near me, it will show up. But when they search for what is an employment lawyer, do I have a case in employment law, we can restrict the ad spend so that you're not wasting clicks in those examples. Okay, so back to this larger market formula. So then we have this larger 80%. You'll see here that we've got the 20% of people who are problem aware. So they might know they've been mistreated at work. They might know that they've been ripped off and they have like a civil dispute with somebody. They might know that they've got business issues, the contractual issues that they need to work through, but they're just not sure about that a law firm can actually relieve some of these problems and get them a favorable outcome in court if necessary, or out of court preferably. So what we can do with these people is we can use advertising to ultimately highlight their problem. And the way that we do that is with what we call scorecard marketing. And we use a bit of software called Score App to do that. Here's an example for one of our clients in the employment law space. And what we do for them is we run an ad and it just says, have you been pushed out at work? Have you been mistreated at work? And the ad then prompts them, take this 2-minute questionnaire to find out your percentage chance of having a case in employment law. We then drive them to a landing page, a highly optimized landing page that we've spent a few months developing and refining depending on what the data shows us. And we ask them some simple questions that weeds them through. Do they work for the private sector or the public sector? What was their salary in the relevant job? How long ago did this happen? Can you give us a brief outline of the case, etc., etc. And at the end of the questionnaire, we give them a bespoke report, which is dependent on the answers that they provided to the questionnaire, and it informs them of their rights. It informs them the likelihood that they could have a case in employment law. Now that is speculative, and obviously within the software and within the communication, we make them aware that a lawyer will have to review their case, so it's compliant in those terms. And what our clients get at the end of it is a big long list of names with percentage scores, so they will know how qualified that lead is, how high quality that lead is. Then finally, you have people who aren't even problem aware. They might have gone on maternity leave, come back, and their position has been filled and they've told they can come back on reduced hours to a different job with a different salary. You know, there's been some breach of the law, so they know they've been aggrieved, but they don't know that it's against the law. Facebook ads can be used to target these people as well, to highlight the problem, to highlight that they might have been mistreated, to highlight the fact that, you know, they haven't potentially got the best resolution in family law, to highlight the fact that if there's a contract dispute with businesses, then lawyers can can unpick some of that for them to get them a favorable outcome. And then we drive them to the same questionnaire. Nice and simple. So with this model, in total, we use that larger market formula to target people who are ready for you. Then we use the SEO and the content strategies and the video strategies to target people who are in that information gathering mode. And then meta ads we use to educate and inform, driving people to the questionnaire marketing to give long leads of lists, like this example for one of our law clients. And as you can see, hundreds of leads are coming in. Just for £2.77 was the latest cost per lead. And the majority of these are good. And the fantastic thing is they can quickly see with a scan which leads are good, which leads are bad. Who do they invest their time calling and who do they not? Also at the end of this, there's email marketing so we can start reaching some more people, but that's a slightly different strategy. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of the strategies that we're using, because ordinarily those three strategies of SEO, Google Ads, and Facebook quiz marketing have proved time and again a fantastic resource for bringing in leads really cheaply, really cost effectively for your law firm. So I hope that helps. I hope you can go away and consider some of that and consider putting some of it into place so you're less reliant on leads and referrals to give you some more consistency and growth forecasts for your business. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more advice on tactics and strategies in digital marketing, and we'll see you next time.